And hey guys, I'm Chef Dennis, and I'm at the World Food Championships in Celebration. I always want to say Kissimmee because it is kind of Kissimmee as well. It's in Celebration, beautiful town that was created. Well, I guess it's been about 20, 30 years now. I'm not really sure when they made it, but it was like a kind of a Stepford Wives kind of town when they built it, for lack of a better purpose. Perfect. Yeah. And over the years, it has gotten less perfect. As people have moved in here, because I know when we first moved here, you weren't allowed to park on the street. Really? You had to park behind. You couldn't hang clothes.
Everything was very prestigious.
Oh yeah, and everything had to look like almost like no one lived here, like a fairy tale kind of town. Yeah. And since then, things have changed. As you can see, people park, and it still is really a pretty cool town, though. Sure. And I was excited to see that they were moving the World Food Championships here, and they took over Main Street, and they took over the street that wraps around. We're in the bus in front of the old movie theater. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it sure does.
Well, let me introduce you. And why don't you introduce yourself? Tell them who you are and where you're from.
My name's Jared Robertson. I'm third generation for Southern Pride Barbecue Pits and Smokers. We're originally from Southern Illinois, but we now manufacture in West Tennessee. So we're very strategically located to be able to deliver our goods all over the country. We also sell internationally as well. So there's a lot of trials and tribulations being a family business. My dad just recently retired, but there's nothing that's more rewarding than to get to work with my family and keep this going on. We're going on 39 years of being in business next month. So.
Now, is that a Southern Illinois accent?
Yes, I actually lived down here in Florida for about 4 years as I was going to school at Florida University, and a lot of people were where I was from. So yeah, my twang's a little Southern. We're really from the Midwest, but originally being from Illinois, when we tell people that, they just automatically assume Chicago. Yeah. But we're that's 320 miles north of us, so we're really from the South. And it complements the name of the company and what we do for people. It's just very complimentary for what our mission is and what we do to make a living.
That's pretty cool. I would have never thought of Illinois as the South. Yeah. But Southern Illinois is just like going back to Rocky, Southpaw, South Jersey, South Philly kind of thing. Wrong hand too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of hunting and fishing. A lot of Chicagoans come down to participate in that, and the scenery is beautiful. We have Southern Illinois University down there that's a great school for a lot of people, and it's a really great place. I was fortunate enough to leave home for a little while and come back, and I enjoy any time I spend in Southern Illinois. I really enjoy it. And now that we're in West Tennessee, we're really happy to be there as well. It's a great atmosphere. We actually suffered a roof collapse back in '09. That's what actually took us to Tennessee.
Really?
And it's like a lot of other things. There's a silver lining to it. We thought it was going to be detrimental to the success and the continuity to our business, and it turned out being. Now that we're through it all, it's one of the best things ever could happen to us.
How far is, I don't have a map in front of me, and I'm not very geographically minded. How far is Tennessee from Illinois?
It's actually pretty close. We're, I often joke about it as far as we're 175 miles south of where we used to be.
Really?
We go over through Missouri, through the southeast Missouri, through the Boot Hill to get to where we are. But it's 175 miles from where we're from, and we often joke about how it's close enough to go home anytime we want to, but it's far enough to keep the in-laws at bay. So they're not bothering us too awful lot. Hopefully my in-laws aren't listening
or watching. I know.
Yeah. But, no, it's great. We've been very well received by the community. We got a great workforce. We have a 107,000 square foot facility that we manufacture in, and we build from scratch. We steel and the flat sheets and all the iron and everything, and we have a fabrication department that starts the process off where we do all of our cutting, punching, bending, and welding, and then it moves through the factory to the assembly side of things, and then we quality control 100% of the smokers that we sell, and then it's ready to ship. So and every smoker we have is built to order.
Wow. So really?
Yeah.
So you don't have a stock that you're just sending out?
No, we rely on our distributors to take care of that for us. We have a network of distributors throughout the country and one in Germany, and they buy and resell our equipment. And they're really the backbone of the company as far as the way that we take our equipment to market and the support that it gives our customers. We make very high quality smokers, but the fact that they support it and they're there locally or regionally, it really gives our customers the best shot of success. The food service industry is a very challenging atmosphere.
Oh God, yeah.
But it's also very rewarding if you do everything right. And here lately, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of exposure on the Food Channel and the Travel Channel, the Food Network. And I kind of brag on the fact that I think that you find Southern Pride equipment on these shows more often than not when it's in a barbecue restaurant, because these people have done a lot of things to be successful, right, all the way to getting them on television. Yeah. So we're always excited to see our equipment back there. A lot of people, even my friends growing up, we were just the barbecue people. Mm-hmm. And now that they've kind of seen this, and if you start to pay a little bit of attention on the Food Network and the Travel Channel and Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and shows like that, you'll see a Southern Pride in the background, and it's usually pretty brief, but once you catch on to it, it's hey, there it is. So I get texts all the time. Hey, I just saw your equipment on TV. That's cool. So we're kind of local celebrities with our friends and family. It's kind of neat.
And that's got to be the best kind of endorsement you can get, is when you see people that have kind of made it, or that are really good at what they do, and they're using your equipment.
You hit the nail on the head. Our best sales force are our customers, our word of mouth, and they're truly the best ambassadors that we have because of the years that they tell. And I think one of the most rewarding compliments that we get from are that we gave back. This organization was created out of necessity. My dad and grandfather back in the early 70s had a restaurant in Decatur, Illinois, and they spent one of the two of them spent every night at the restaurant, wow, adding fuel to the fire, shuffling product, and it was just very labor intense. So they started building their own contraption, as thousands and thousands of people have done. And it over the course of 3 years, it evolved into something that was allowing them to create high quality barbecue in large volume with a whole lot less labor, to where they could go home at night and come back in the next morning refreshed, and the product was perfect to be ready to serve. So it worked well for them, and they decided that since it worked well enough for them, that perhaps that's the route that they ought to take. And they built in 1976 is when they decided they wanted to get away from the restaurant industry and start providing smokers to people in the business. And they hand built 6 the first year. My dad would build them, and my grandfather went out and sold them. Wow. And we did 6 the first year, 13 the second year, and it continued to increase, over the last 39 years. And last May, I believe, is when we hit our 20,000 smoker that we've sold, both domestically and worldwide. So it's a lot of people, when they first started working for my dad and grandfather, it's kind of like the family members. Well, that's great that you got a job. I mean, how long is this going to last? How many barbecue pits can you sell? Yeah. And I don't think that we've gotten anywhere close to market saturation. Yeah. This barbecue has gone from a national favorite kind of product to a global phenomenon. Everybody wants American barbecue, and we're really seeing a whole lot of interest internationally. That's our fastest growing market right now, are the folks from overseas.
Now, you say the word barbecue, and to most Northerners, they're going to think, well, we're bringing out the grill and we're going to put some charcoal on it and we're going to grill some steaks. Now, when I first came down here and they're talking about barbecue, I'm Texas born, but unfortunately, I lived in the North most of my life in Philadelphia, and they don't know what barbecue is. Sure. But you come down south and they talk about barbecue, give you a plate of meat, and I'm going, what the hell?
Yeah, it is.
So tell us a little bit about proper barbecue.
I think that it's a great debate. Of course, anybody that cooks it, theirs is the best. We kind of sometimes get caught up in that as well. We're very proud of the barbecue that we put out, even just as the manufacturer. We're still using the same dry rub that my dad and grandfather were using at the restaurant. And right from right there, it starts. Obviously, it's mostly proteins. You're going to be, smoking, but even the fact that it's BBQ, it's barbecue with a C, it's barbecue with a Q. Everybody thinks whatever they believe is right, but it's very passionately debated as far as what qualifies genuine, authentic barbecue. A lot of the guys in the competition world, they feel that it's necessary to sit up all night and stoke the fire and have a little Jack Daniels, and that's part of the camaraderie of it. But that's really very challenging to duplicate that in a work environment where you're actually in the business. And so it's really entertaining to hear everybody's take on what barbecue is and whether it has sauce or not. In some areas, it's not barbecue if it doesn't have sauce. And our take on that is that you ought to be able to create a quality enough product that it doesn't need sauce, but it's always a nice compliment if there's just one that you really fancy. But it's kind of like A1 steak. Anytime you're at a restaurant and they ask if you want A1 sauce for your steak, you say, well, I hope I don't need that. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see what people's takes are, and it's from all walks of life. And it's there's as much barbecue as we've been exposed to and sampled. It's amazing the different smoke flavor profiles and the different. I mean, you could have 10 guys line up all using the same kind of pit, and unless they're using the same seasoning, the same wood, the same amount of wood, the same time and temperature, it really allows somebody to really put a signature flavor profile on their product. And as I said, everybody who's doing it thinks that theirs is the best.
And there's so many variables in this that you can make. And I've heard people say, the secret was in the wood, and they only got trees from there where their families lived for generations.
Yeah.
Secret, and they'll give you the recipe to make it.
Yeah.
It's all those other things that you don't take into consideration.
Yeah.
Now, what makes? Are we still using wood? Tell me a little bit about your smoker.
Our smokers are our main line. We have 13 models, but I think 11 of the 13 are gas fired with wood burning assist. So you get your heat from the gas, and then you just put in 1 to 2 logs, like a fireplace size log, about 6 inches in diameter, about 14 inches long, and you only need to load the wood one time at the beginning of the cook cycle. Okay. And that's part of what allows you to load up the machine. Once you've seasoned your product, put the wood in the firebox. It's got a precise thermostat control that just like in your house, you set the temperature anywhere between 140 and 325 degrees, and that burner comes on in the firebox. It impinges on the wood. That's where you get your smoke flavor. And then once it gets to the temperature, say 250 degrees, that's a common temperature for people to cook at. It shuts off, and it drops 6 degrees, and then it kicks back on, and it just kind of keeps cycling. So on the front end of the cook cycle, it's on quite a bit. On the back end, it's only on about 50% of the time. And once the steel gets hot and the product, once the product starts to come to temperature and everything, and it just allows for, it's a fully automatic operation once you get the cook cycle started. And that's where a lot of times at trade shows, an owner will come in with their pit master, and the pit master kind of gets nervous, like they're getting ready to get knocked out of a job. And that's not the case at all. You still have to have somebody that handles the product, that loads the product, that gets the smoker ready, that starts the cook cycle. It just allows them, once it's started, then to do other things in the kitchen, to focus on other aspects.
I would think a good pit master would really see the value in this, because he's got a skill set that goes beyond just stoking the fire and loading the wood and staying there all night having a shot of JD every now and then.
Yeah.
And once he realizes that he can really put his skill set to use and get a decent night's sleep every night, that's got to mean a whole world of difference.
Sure, and they still get the same compliment. A lot of people, they think that there's certain ways that they have to do it to get genuine, authentic barbecue. But that's where we go, including here at the World Championship. We sample product. We're very proud of the equipment, but the star of the show is really the product that comes out of the smokers. And it's very rewarding, as you know, for somebody to tell you that it's some of the best food that they've ever had. Anytime you put food in somebody's mouth, and you just see this expression of like, what have you done?
I know.
And there's nothing really more rewarding than that, to make somebody happy by feeding them some real high quality product.
And there's no way of not knowing, because when their eyes light up, when they eat something that they're not expecting, and all of a sudden you can see it all over their face.
Yeah.
That the angels sing.
Yeah. A lot of trade shows where people, a lot of people have had barbecue. Not everybody has had really good barbecue, and I think a big part of it now, it's evolved into something that's no longer looked down upon as far as kind of scrap food. Mm-hmm. It's a delicacy, and I mean it's served in fine dining restaurants, and it's very impactful. But I know we go to the National Restaurant Association show every year. It's a trade show up in Chicago at McCormick Place, and a lot of the other exhibitors come around like, is your barbecue ready yet? So they remember it from last year, and they'll kind of get upset with us if it's going to be a few hours, or we're maybe not serving today, we're going to do it later tonight or tomorrow. And so it's something that I think creates a very memorable experience. And when somebody we commonly serve baby back ribs. We just get them from Sam's Club, nothing special order or anything. Mm-hmm. And when they take that first bite, and they look at you like, what have you done? What is this? And it's magnificently simple in how we do it, and it's very easy to repeat. It's predictable and it's repeatable, and those are things that people like in life is to be able to know what to expect, and to be able to do that 365 days a year. And we have customers that chain restaurants that perhaps have a store down here in Florida as well as in Denver, Colorado, and they want that smoker to perform the exact same as it is in July down here in Florida, or as it is in January in Colorado. And I mean, even the altitude. I mean, there's so many things that really can affect the cook cycle. So I think that we've recognized all that, and we've done a lot of things to repeatability. We try to engineer in our engineering department. We try to out-engineer anything that people are having problems with. One of our finer features are we have an access door to get to our convection fan. And before, you'd have to take all the racks out and climb inside, or you'd have to go around to the back of the smoker and almost act like a service tech to remove it. Well, now we have an access door where you just remove 2 quarter-20 bolts, and you open the door and you can clean your fan blade. And that's paramount, because that airflow is a part of the process that if you don't clean that fan blade, it's like barnacles on a propeller in a boat. It'll start to underperform, and you'll ultimately end up tearing up your motor. So we recognize that as a problem for folks, and we spend a lot of money in building that door and making that a part of it. And in today's world, it's, pricing is certainly very sensitive. I think that's one of the challenges that we face. If everybody that was exposed to Southern Pride and once they recognize what it can do for them, money is really the thing that dictates whether they can invest in this or not, as well as what capacity they have. We have units that range from 150-pound capacity in pork butts all the way up to 2,000 pounds.
Wow.
So depending on what it is you're doing, whether you're in the catering business, whether you're a casino, just a mom and pop restaurant, which is our bread and butter, or chains, it's something that it's very rewarding, and it's amazing how people can go 39 years without ever hearing of Southern Pride. But then once they discover what an asset it is and what it can do for them, they have to have it yesterday. And as I mentioned, we built all of our smokers to order, and it's about a 6-week lead time by the time you place your order, and it goes through the process of manufacturing and getting it ready to be shipped. And it's really neat to see people's reaction, and they're naming their smokers, and it becomes part of the family. I remember one gentleman had his smoker he was needing to upgrade his capacity, but he'd had it for I think 20 years, and they literally had to come in and cut it apart to take it out, and he cried on the scene. He's like, this put my kids through school. This is what I make a living at. So he was very emotionally attached to this steel box that puts out really terrific barbecue. And there's really the food service industry itself. There's no better atmosphere, I think, to be. But the barbecue is even much more special. The camaraderie of people that are in this business, and it's very coveted as far as what the true secrets to success are. But you won't find a more supportive group that really wants to see everybody succeed. There's rivalry, but it's a friendly rivalry. And the National Barbecue Association is a great place to go and to learn about a lot of the pitfalls to avoid in the business. And it's a really great atmosphere. And I just told somebody last night, I said, it's kind of like pinch me that this is my job, but not too hard, because I don't want to wake up. This is really too good to get to meet all these people and cook barbecue, and just it's a very rewarding atmosphere that we're in.
Do you get to travel much then with this?
We travel quite a bit. A lot of trade shows. This isn't exactly a trade show, but it's a great place in the media world for us to get our name out. So people that hadn't ever heard of Southern Pride before, they can kind of discover it. And we've got a great website that of course, it has a lot of detail for what it is. But no, we're very fortunate to get to travel as much as we do. It's a lot of work, there's a lot of effort that goes into it, but to get to meet new people and travel all over the country, it's a very rewarding experience.
I guess. Yeah, just to see the faces of different people in different areas that have never experienced barbecue. Yeah. It's just got to be wild. And Florida's a great place because we get so many international visitors too.
Sure.
And they're like you said, they're crazy for American. I mean, I remember my first trip over there and going to a restaurant, and what they served as barbecue was almost funny.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even close. And they think Americans are all cowboys to begin with.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, it's Florida's actually our number 2 top selling state, only second to Texas. Texas is our number 1 state, and Florida is second. There's a lot of barbecue down here, and and part of traveling, it's always nice. We try to visit our customers that we that are using our equipment, and it's always nice to see their atmosphere and how they're doing things, and it's really neat to get to travel around and sample different products and talk to different people, and you're always learning. Yeah. You right when you know it all, you almost kind of smack your head thinking, how did I not know that, or how did I not the creator of that idea? So it's a really, really rewarding atmosphere to be in.
Well, it doesn't matter where you learn it from as long as you learn it, because listening to your customers has got to be the most valuable experience you can get. I mean, because they're the ones out there in the pits using it every day. Yep. I mean, you build it, you use it, you know what it can do, but they're sometimes not as learned about how it was supposed to be used, and they figure out other ways to use it. and it like opens your eyes. Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
And that worked out well.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of tricks of the trade. Part of what we do try to preach, though, is try not to get too fancy with it. You don't, a lot of other barbecue manufacturers, it's necessary, depending on how their equipment operates, to perhaps maybe pull the product out and wrap it and put it back in. And there's just a lot of things that people do. You can't, you can do whatever you like, but there's just, we try to keep it very simple. Don't get cute with it. Don't get fancy. And when they pull this product out of the smoker and they eat it, and it's moist and it's juicy, and the aroma is permeating the atmosphere. And I'm getting hungry right now. And
I know, I am too.
It's funny how many people ask me, do you ever get tired of barbecue? And we really don't. Every time I have it, it's almost like we ate some ribs last night that we sampled to all the folks that won here at the World Food Championship. That was part of our hospitality, was to bring them in and offer them a complimentary beverage and serve them ribs. And I had some last night, and it's like, these are the best ribs I've ever had. And the fact that we can do that 365 days a year makes it very, very rewarding. And then the next question is, well, what's your favorite? And the honest answer is whatever we're pulling out of the smoker at the time, that's my favorite. Yeah. So whether it's brisket or pork butts or pork tenderloin, ribs, any kind of protein. And not only that, the smoked foods, barbecue has, obviously has a wide variety of products that are served, but smoked products now. So the people are smoking desserts. Yeah. We have one customer that smokes sugar at low temperature. Really? And sells it as a side item. And it's amazing the creativity with what you can do with barbecue.
That's
and
pretty
we have
cool.
one customer that actually smokes bones for pets. They buy the bones pennies on the pound, and they turn around and smoke them and sell them to local pet stores. And people are crazy about their pets. I myself, I got a couple dogs, and so it's just amazing the creativity and what you can do starting from scratch and make a name for yourself. Anybody can be famous in the barbecue business, in my opinion. And a lot of people that put a lot of blood and sweat and hard work into it. As most people know, overnight successes really aren't overnight. No. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and I think the passion is as exciting as anything. This event just comes around once a year, but even last night I got excited. I had goosebumps. Well, these people are so excited about what they're doing, and it's not just barbecue here. It's several different food categories, but to see the excitement and the passion that these people have is also a very rewarding experience. I keep using the word rewarding because it truly is. It truly is a great atmosphere to be in, and the people that you meet, and the friendly competition, and the joking, and the giving each other a hard time. And Mike Peters is right next door to us. He's the president of the Kansas City Barbecue Society, and there's one of the guys that's doing our demo reel, tomorrow. He's cooking up some product. When he came over to say hi to us, and Mike saw him from away, said, "Hey, it's the hippie smokers." And they see each other 3 or 4 times a year, so it's very much kind of a family thing, and actually, as family, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of family tradition where this is a great thing that anybody can do, whether you're good at it, if you're a novice or if you're a professional. You see a lot of moms and dads and kids, and it's just something that everybody can gather around and get to really enjoy some quality time and break bread with each other. And
food is that common bond that we all share, and even if you don't speak the language, you can eat food with someone that you can just barely communicate with, and form a kind of a friendship and a bond that goes beyond what other people think of.
And it's a comfort food. So that's when people, as you gather around and you eat together and you get to talk about fun, and it's just it's a very rewarding experience from start to.
Now, let me ask you a question. These are mostly food service machines, no smokers. Yeah, you want to make them a smaller unit?
We've had a lot of conversation about that. It gets more and more challenging the smaller we get, given the attributes that our equipment has. Okay. Everything has to have a burner. Everything has to have a convection fan motor. They all have to have controls. So the smaller it gets, the harder it is for us to be able to earn the money that we need to keep this thing going. Gotcha. So the bigger the smoker, obviously the more profitable we are, but we spread that overhead across everything else. We have 38 employees, and as I mentioned, 117,000 square foot facility. So it's a big engine. We have an Amada laser that we've had since 2006. We just bought a used one that's going to be installed on December 7th. We're really ready to have that behind us because that's not our forte. But we're continuing to reinvest in our organization. We rely very heavily on our distributors to do the same thing, to purchase inventory and to provide the time and the support that these customers need to try to avoid the pitfalls of going out of business.
Yeah.
So it's a big engine. There's a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think we make it look easy. I think we make it look easier than what it really is. But I'm as passionate about building the smokers as these chefs are about creating this high quality food. You know, I'm just as happy to watch how it's made as I am diners, drives, and dives. So I get kind of both sides of it, and then to get to come to these kind of events and meet people like yourself and everybody that's here. Everybody's just in a good mood. You know, we're in sunny Central Florida. You know,
and there's food everywhere.
There's food everywhere. I mean, you walk outside and you could have just ate, and you're still going to be hungry because there's whichever way the wind's blowing, you're getting a different, you know, maybe 4 or 5 different flavors that you're getting. It's just bombarding you all the time. So
gotta love it.
This is a great place to be. We're tickled to participate and sponsor the World Food Championship, and I just having as much fun as we can possibly stand.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know you have a lot on your plate, and great talking to you.
It was my pleasure
to meet you.
My pleasure.
And I'll be coming back later during the day with some more people and more interviews. Stick around, and I'll show you more of the World Food Championship. Bye.